we all Christians refer to what we normally call the Lord's Prayer. That is what Jesus was telling the people to pray, that the kingdom of God should come. We find this in Matthew chapter 6 and then Luke chapter 11. Jesus was telling the people that they should not pray like people he described as hypocrites and heathens. He said the hypocrites like praying in a church rooms, corners in every room, every place in the church, and so long prayers that they think God will hear them. And say heathens to speak with so many words, but they should not even ask what they need, because their father knows what they need before they ask him. But they should pray that, Father, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done here on earth as it is in heaven. That is Matthew chapter 6 from verse 5 to 10. Now, when we look before that chapter, that's chapter 5 of Matthew, Matthew started by saying that Jesus saw a multitude and then went to a mountain and sat down, and disciples also came to him and he started to teach them. In fact, he talked a lot there. And from verse 17 to 20, he said to them, think not that I come to destroy the law and the prophets. I'm not come to destroy them, but to fulfill them. Until heaven and earth pass away, one little jot will not pass until all are fulfilled. But then he told them, he continued and said that they should teach anyone who will not do and teach people least of these commandments shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven. Those who do and teach men so will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. But then he continued to say that, but your righteousness should exceed that of the Pharisees and the Sadducees, as you can by no means enter into the kingdom of heaven. So here, the Pharisees were teaching those commandments and doing them, but he's comparing them to them. He's comparing the Pharisees and the people, and said that they should be better than the Pharisees, who were their teachers. So I don't know how they are going to be better than their teachers, since their teachers were teaching them this. And he came to Matthew chapter 23 and then said from verse 1 that the Pharisees and the scribes, they sit in Moses' seat. So whatever they teach you do, but don't do what they are doing. But Jesus was telling them that those who do and teach you to do, and these people are teaching them, but he said they should not do what they are doing. And then he came upon the Pharisees, and one of the things they were doing was that they want to be called rabbi in the marketplaces. They like greetings when they go to party. They want to sit on a big seat. And so these are the deeds that he said they should not do so. But he came on this scribe and the Pharisees, now Matthew 23, from verse 13, and began to say, woe unto you, you scribe and Pharisees, you are hypocrites. You, by pretend, make long prayers, but you devour widows' homes. You prevent people from entering the kingdom of heaven. You will never go in yourself, but you don't want others also to enter. You go about everywhere, land and overseas, everywhere, and make proselytes. You form churches everywhere. When you make them twice the kingdom of hell, the children of hell, than yourselves. You pay tithe of everything. You bring guides, omitted the weightier matter of the law. Why won't you even do this weightier matter? That is faith, mercy, and judgment, and rather even take your tithes. You make yourself so holy. You are polished outside, but inwardly, you are full of rotten bones. So this is what Jesus was telling them in Matthew 23. And so he was comparing that the people should not be like them. But it was very difficult. Why? Because they were their teachers. They had the synagogues. They control everything there. So how will you be better than them? That one is left to the people. But Who was Jesus talking to? Now, in Luke chapter 11, we find out clearly that he was talking, that might Luke 11, we can find the audience. Luke said, Jesus was praying at a place, and when he finished praying, one of the disciples, that is the apostles, asked him to teach them to pray as John the Baptist taught his disciples. And there Jesus said, when you pray, say this: Our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done here on earth as it is in heaven. When he came to from verse 14 down, he was casting out devil. We have explained what it means casting out devils. A spirit was casting out the spirit because it means the person is possessed. The person himself was not a devil. He was possessed with the devil. Then we have people who are devils themselves, like Judas Iscariot. And we have explained that Jesus did not deal with the devils. He dealt with the devils who were possessing the people. But he said, when we believe in him, we will do greater than what he did. We'll do the works he did and do greater. John chapter 14, verse 12. In other words, we will not only cast the devils from those who possess, but we will cast those who are devils themselves, like Judas Iscariot, who Jesus said he was a devil in John 6, 70, 71. So we will have, that's why. So when we said, and this sign for those who believe, we cast out devils, we'll cast out devils in two ways: those who are possessed and those who are the devils themselves. You see, when somebody is possessed with a demon spirit, the person is not a demon. Or somebody is possessed with a witchcraft spirit, the person is not a witch. He is possessed. So you can cast the devil away. The person, when he's possessed with this devil spirit, he can be a very poor person. The spirit can make the person poor. He cannot do anything himself because the spirit is controlling the person. It can make the person sick, every kind of sicknesses. It can make the person do anything, even become a murderer, kill people. Unless the spirit is cast out, then he can be of himself or herself. Spirit can even come upon human beings like women sleeping with women in the night. The woman could not control. So when you cut the spirit out, the woman being, the human being, will become free. But there are persons who are demons themselves, who are the occult masters themselves, who are the witches themselves. That one is not that they are possessed with the spirit. They are the spirit. When we come to Christ also, we have the same thing. We have explained all these things. We have the old apostles who were possessed by the Spirit of Christ. So the Spirit of Christ was using them to speak. As Peter said in 1 Peter chapter 1 from verse 4. But there are people who are born the Spirit of Christ. These are the new creatures. They are the Spirit of Christ themselves in human flesh. So those who are having the Spirit coming to them to work miracles and do them are not the same as people who are born of the Spirit of Christ and become the Spirit of Christ themselves in human flesh. And these are the new creatures that we try to perfect. They can do everything that Jesus can do. So if they are not doing anything, it is very hard for you to see miracles because the miracles are in them. They are supposed to do them. But now we are not talking about that. We deal a lot when we look at Christians who are unbelievers. There are a lot of them there. We are dealing with who Jesus was asking to pray, your Father, your kingdom, Father, your kingdom should come. When we go to the scriptures, what Jeremiah, what Isaiah, what Micah said, we will know why God was telling a people to pray that and who these people are. First of all, Jeremiah talk about Jeremiah 23, verse 5 and 6. Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 5 and 6 talk about a branch who's a king. And through him, Judah will be safe. And Israel will have rest through that branch. Isaiah described the branch as he will come out from a rod that was stemmed out from the Jesse, the stem of Jesse. And we have seen that branch, but Jesus talked about the branch in John chapter 15, verse 5. But Jesus said, I'm the vine and you are the branch. And Micah is describing the people who come from the nations and join the house of Jacob, the God of the house of Jacob. When they come, they'll sit under their vine and sit under their fig tree. Now, they will come and meet the fig tree. The fig tree is a symbol of the Israelites. So when you read somewhere in Mark chapter 11, verse 14, verse 12 to 40, when Jesus saw a fig tree and said, nobody will eat from you again. If you go to what Paul quoted David in Romans chapter 11, if you begin from verse 8 down, Paul quoted David there. He said, let their tables be snared, where they eat from. He was talking to the Israelites. David was cursing the Israelites. That's why he used that word. And Jesus came and said, nobody will eat from that fig tree again. So he was talking about the Israelites. Again, Jesus says something, he gives a parable that a man had a man has a farm and have a fig tree planted in that farm. And he sent his people to go and bring fruit from the fig tree and said, there was no fruit. And said, but how long will this fig tree occupy my land? The servants asked him, let us put fertilizers on it for the next 3 years and see. Then Jesus said, if after 3 years it does not bear fruit, I'll cut it off. He was talking about 3 years of his ministry. That was to the Israelites alone. In Matthew chapter 10, from verse 5, he told the apostles not to minister to any Gentile or any Samaritan, only to the Israelites. Because the 3 years of his stay in the world here was only a ministry to the Israelites. The ministry to the Gentiles will begin after his resurrection. So in Matthew chapter 15 from verse 22, the woman from Cana, of course not the Israelites, wanted something from him. He said, I did not come because of you. I came because of the lost sheep of the Israel, of Israel. So what is saying that 3 years of his stay on earth and the human flesh was for the people born of flesh. That's the Israelites. But those who are going to be born of the Spirit himself and becoming his branch, they will come out after his resurrection. So you don't need to say anything to them because they will not even understand what you are saying. Because they are going to be born by the gospel which we preach after my resurrection. So when he rose from the dead, he said, go and teach them that all power in heaven and earth is given unto me. And these people are becoming my co-heirs. We have become John heirs. We are going to sit on the throne together with them. And Jeremiah is saying that these are the people who, in their days, that they will save Judah and cause Israel to have rest. So Jesus was teaching these Israelites to pray that this day will come. This kingdom of God we will establish. These kings will come out. These kings are their saviors. They will come out. So if today you see Israel suffering, it is because these kings are being deceived by, in fact, Satan's main target is these people, because that is Satan's only headache. They are the only ones who Satan is afraid and so terrified and preventing that they will not become so knowledgeable. He wants them to be ignorant. He wants them to, so that he can suppress them. He can rule over them. He can cast them down, possess them so that they cannot. And somebody will say that, can a demon spirit possess somebody who is born of Christ, who is the Christ spirit in a human form? The answer is big yes. Why? Because when Jesus himself came, and don't think that you are this greater than Jesus, he said we are the same. When Jesus himself came, who is even more than he know who he was? We didn't even know. We are trying to catch up with that understanding. He himself was captured by these people and sent to Pilate and killed. Why? And sent to hell. When he died, he went to hell. But he has the power to come out, so he came out. Why was he possessed, overcome by these people and destroyed? It was because they put him under what is called the law. They put him under what is called Sinai. When you are found among them, among Mount Sinai doctrines, among their commandments, a little is found in you. You are the tither. You pay tithes. I'm a tither. Then you are bragging. You sow seed. You are paid. You use anointing oil. You use this kind. You follow this kind of doctrines which are very foolish. You will cause them to now govern over you. They will get you in their nets, possess you. Jesus said, I'm the vine, you are the branches. Anyone in me that will not abide in the vine and in the words that I'm teaching you, you will be cut off. And men will gather you and they will use you. Don't let anybody deceive you that once you are safe, you are forever safe, because you can be cut off. You see, these are agents who are coming from the devilish realms. And when they come, sometimes they behave as if they are against themselves. You think they are preaching against themselves. It is Satan's strategy. So if you don't follow here, you will jump to follow this one. Now, in the next teaching, we are going to teach about how we can redeem nations by just a word. We are going to look at that and look at examples. How people who were supposed to do that, they have all the knowledge, but they don't know why they are even Christians. What happened to them later? So stay blessed.